At Bucks County Classical Arts Center, we practice Old Master drawing and painting techniques. The reason I like the Old Master training methods is because I see them as just as valid now as they were when they were being used 100 years ago or 200 years ago or 500 or thousands of years ago. There's these beautiful methods that have come out of observation and looking at things, and there's something really amazing about that level of craft. You try to break it into parts that are manageable on their own as subjects, and that's a big task. That's like a symphony. Like handing someone a color palette, like on the first week of art school, is like throwing a baby in the middle of the ocean, like, and telling him to swim. It's so much. To get to the symphony, I have to study my flute solo, and someone else has to study their trombone part, and that's a full-scale piece going on. But for students, in a way, it's kind of easy, because we're just like, hey, let's start with drawing shapes. Let's talk about shapes. How many shapes do you see? How big are they? How small are they? How wide are they? Are they round? Are they curvy? Are they square? You know, and that's manageable. There is a system, and the old masters had a way of training people with it. One of the things I always look for when I'm teaching is, what is the simplest, most effective way I can bring this student up to make their work better? Sometimes people come in and oftentimes it's a thing I recognize, is that someone maybe got partial training before, or they got a little bit, but they didn't really get pushed or nourished or encouraged. People will say, I can't do art, or I'm not good at art. I think people see the level of work in here and they think, they can be intimidated, which I understand, because I was too when I first walked in. People can often do things that they didn't think they could do if they're given the opportunity. If they're given encouragement, an environment that's supportive, and that they see a thing happening around them. It's pretty amazing, because people that maybe don't think they can do this very quickly realize that they actually have an angle to do it with, because the tools are in front of them. Part of the benefit of a place like this is that it's very dialogue driven, and that's actually just a huge kind of cornerstone about how we work in here. We'll talk to the students about what they're seeing, what they're not seeing, what do they have to do technically to adjust to get there. We have all ages of students, then all the way up to, 70 and 80. Maybe you're someone in the long program where you're doing the entire arc of drawing to grisaille to color. Or maybe it's a one-off class, maybe it's a landscape class. The thing that makes this place special, and it's a cornerstone of how I try to teach, is that I'm trying to find where the student is and then meet them in conversation where they're actually at. There is a point on this too, where again, like if it wasn't called classical, like I still feel like people would be doing it, because they'd still be looking, they'd still be observing, they'd still be saying, what is that thing over there? And how do I get closer to it? Honestly, the best part of this really is just that it's a really neat community of different people that practice this, of all different ages, and artists, and I want to say artsy weirdos, and I mean that in the best affectionate way possible. People come here and I think the experience is pretty unique. Part of it's the community, and then part of it's just the diligence to the principles that we're trying to uphold. I think it's pretty special, and I think that's why it continues.